2, 1.
Hey, I'm Salman Jasani, and I'm doing Calvin Coolidge's first inaugural address. And these are my two people. My countrymen, no one can contemplate current conditions without finding much that is satisfying and still more that is encouraging. Our own country is leading the world in the general readjustments to the results of the great conflict. Many of its burdens will bear heavily upon us for years. In the secondary and indirect effects we must expect to experience for some time. But we are beginning to comprehend more definitely what course should be pursued, what remedies ought to be applied, what action should be taken for our deliverance, and are clearly manifesting a determined will faithfully and consciously to adopt these methods of relief. Already, we have sufficiently rearranged our domestic affairs so that confidence has returned, business has revived, and we appear to be entering an era of prosperity which is gradually reaching into every part of the nation. Realizing that we cannot live unto ourselves alone, we have contributed of our resources and our counsel to the relief of the suffering and the settlement of the disputes among the European nations. Because of what America is and what America has done, a firmer courage, a higher hope, inspires the heart of all humanity. These results have not occurred by mere chance. They have been secured by a constant and enlightened effort marked by many sacrifices and extending over many generations. We cannot continue these brilliant successes in the future unless we continue to learn about the past. It is necessary to keep the former experiences of our country, both at home and abroad, continually before us if we are to have any science of government. If we wish to erect new structures, we must have a definite knowledge of the old foundations. We must realize that human relationship does not change. We must frequently take our bearings from these fixed stars of our political firmament if we expect to hold a true course. If we examine carefully what we have done, we can determine the more accurately what we can do. We stand at the opening of the 150th year since our national consciousness first asserted itself by unmistakable action with any area of force. The old sentiment of detached independent colonies disappeared in the new sentiment of a united and independent nation. Men began to discard from the narrow confines of a local charter for the broader opportunities of a national constitution. Under the eternal urge of freedom, we became an independent nation. A little less than 50 years later, that freedom and independence were reasserted in the face of all the world and guarded, supported, and secured by the Monroe Doctrine. The narrow fringe of states along the Atlantic seaboard advanced its frontiers across the hills and plains of an intervening continent until it passed down the golden slope to the Pacific. We made freedom a birthright. We extended our domain over distant islands in order to safeguard our own interests and accepted the consequent obligation to bestow justice and liberty upon less favored peoples. In the defense of our own ideals and in the general cause of liberty, we entered the Great War. When victory had been fully secured, we withdrew to our own shores, unrecompensed, save in the consciousness of duty done. Throughout all these experiences, we have enlarged our freedom, we have strengthened our independence, we have been and propose to be more and more American. We believe that we can best serve our own country and most successfully discharge our obligations to humanity by continuing to be openly and candidly, intensely and scrupulously American. If we have any heritage, it has been that. If we have any destiny, we have found it in that direction. Thank you.